my stuff is actually made with materials that are made from trash, regenerated fishnets, used carpets, but it's a very robust material. It's from a certified mill. It's made locally. It's paid, it's fair wage. The zippers are from Japan. It's guaranteed for life. And you're buying a quality product that makes you feel good. And once you have that explanation, it obviously changes the mindset of people. And I think there's also a big difference in fashion of selling a coat that is still accessible and reasonable for what it is versus selling a coat for $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 that's still not made locally, has somewhat decent materials, but you're also buying into hype, marketing, and everything else. So our community tends to understand that, especially when they do the research and see other products that are made locally, which are also great, but even the materials that we use coming from certified mills, that's kind of a rarity. A lot of companies that produce locally say they produce locally, but you can't trace where the materials are coming from. So there's that aspect as well.
You bring up, it's like, oh, now we have to talk about transparency and the true cost. Like it's like everything. So Lindsay and Alexandra, which one of you is going to address are your things? You think, do people say your clothing and what you're selling is expensive?
I think sometimes. I think when we started in 2016, a lot of the conversations we have been educational or education based. Like, why are we doing this? What exactly is the problem? What is our solution? Why does it matter? I think when it comes to kids' clothes, we do have to justify that sometimes a little bit more, perhaps, because when you buy something for your child, they can't necessarily wear that, for upwards of 6 to 10 years. But we try, all of our stuff is gender neutral. So we also kind of really go along the lines of, you can pass this down and around. We are building products that will last. That is our intention. We're using the very best materials. We're trying to be innovative in terms of like creating, even more patches on kids' pants on knees, because we know kids kind of work through those things faster. So there's a lot of intention behind even the proponents of our garments. But I like what you said. Like, I think, there's exceptions to this, of course, but I feel like sustainable fashion kind of really does fall between fast fashion and like luxury brands, right? And luxury, and because you're paying more for it, like you said, doesn't necessarily mean that it's more ethical or it's more sustainable. So I think, if you look at sustainable brands and you do your research, you'll find that their price point, again, to my point earlier, is really reflective on those materials and ethical costs. I don't know a lot of sustainable brands out there. I can't think of one that's trying to like gouge people for more margin.